Okay guys, so we are back messing with the turbo manifold, and I'm at work. That's why my desk looks different. Machine shop. But anyway, I've gone ahead and I've reinforced and tacked all these runners. You can see instead of having 2 or 3 on there, there's multiple. Everywhere where I can get it, there's tacks. So to refresh the plan, we're going to leave number 1 runner and number 4 runner on here to keep the position of our collector. We're going to break off 2 and 3 and weld these off of the manifold. Then we'll put 3 on first because of that down there, and then this is the last one we'll put back on, because I think I can fully weld this when the other 3 pipes are on. So we're at that step now. I'm going to break these 2 off, and manifold's going to look like it's broken here in a second. Oh, it looks crazy now. So that one's number 2, and this one's number 3. It's funny to think those are within like half an inch of each other, although it doesn't look like it. Funny how you can arrange pipes like that. But so now that we have our, let's say, carcass, we can now start fully welding. There's some spots where I couldn't tack the backside like this, so I'll tack this a couple more times, and we'll tack this and this to the collector some more so it doesn't move anymore. I actually should have done that before I broke those 2 loose, but it was very easy to break them loose. I knew I was going to break those loose, so when I tacked it on the flange, I did top and bottom so I could easily access the tack welds. Then on this one, I tacked on the outside, so it was easy. This one, I don't know what I was thinking. I should have tacked it back here, but for some reason I tacked it there, which you can clearly see I couldn't put a grinder there. Like that. So I had to cut it loose down here and then just wiggle it back and forth until I broke that tack. So not the end of the world, but we'll definitely want to clean that and this surface area before we put those back on. But we fully weld these off the manifold just like this, and then fully weld all of this except for the wastegate. And I think I have a drill press back there. You can't see it in the video, but I think once we weld this, we'll go over to the drill press and we'll break this tack loose, and we'll actually drill this hole on the drill press. I think it looks like there's enough room, especially if I angle it flat like that. So hopefully we can do that and I don't have to use a little plasma cutter to cut that. So I've been coming in early before work, and I've got this runner number 2 all the way done. Now I'm a little rusty with welding, you know, so you can see some are really good passes and some are a little wide and not as controlled, but you know, it will definitely do. We're almost finished welding this. Looks like I just have this top one to do. But I forgot one very important thing, which I want to show you in case you guys are building manifolds, and I want to make sure you guys don't get carried away like I did. So, you know, we tacked everything together, and I was starting to weld these, and I forgot that this collector is not welded. And you can actually see a gap is now forming there. So that's how much the metal has already moved, because it was only tacked a couple of places. I bought the collector. That's a vibrate collector. Still my fault for not welding it. So we're going to stop welding all the runners and we're going to weld that collector up, which is a good time to do it, because if I would have put one of the pieces in, it wouldn't have been weldable. So that's our task this morning. But not too shabby. Well, I have it all mocked back up. This one and this one's together, attached, and these two are not. But we didn't move too much. That still fits right there. The one big gap I had is still there. But I mean, that's not that big. That's 1/16 of an inch. We only tack welded these two to the flange because the flange is already warped. I think it was warped a little bit just from cutting. So I need to fasten a plate across here and tack these two ends before I weld these. But you can see I've tacked it. But all the runners are fully welded. So the next step is, if you can see, I don't think I would be able to weld this with these two runners here. God, that looks good. So instead of attaching the two middle runners, the next step is to cut this off and drill the hole and fully weld that one on before we put those two runners on. So that's the plan, but you know, I'm a little rusty. I haven't been a full-time fabricator in quite a few years. So some of the welds are really pretty and some are kind of subpar. You know, a little wavy there, and that's over attack. But you know, I'm happy with all of them. So there's a little undercut. You can see that is undercut a little bit. I may fill that a little bit more, but this is schedule 40 piping. It's very thick, so okay. So as you saw in the last clip, I used end mill to drill the hole out. Well, I cut the hole, cut a triangle in this to get the end mill in there, and then I just use the end mill to clean it. And I'll have to die grind this, but that actually looks pretty good in there. Yeah, you can see I filled that little gap, but shouldn't be too bad. We'll try to clean all that up with a Dremel. But also, just from tacking these, the flange had warped. I think it was warped when I got it. But I went ahead and grabbed a piece of square tubing and drilled holes on either side of it, bolted it on, reinforced it a little bit over here to make sure it didn't pull up. And I'm sure it's not 100% flat, but it is a lot better than what it was. So it should work, and we'll just use this as well for these two when I weld those. But I've got the wastegate fully welded. You can see that's that top part that I filled. So it came out pretty well. Again, like I said, I just need to Dremel all that out. But we have to Dremel these as well because it's an oval hole to a circle pipe. So got some Dremel work there anyway. But that's it. The only two things left is to weld the runner and weld the runner. And here is the finished product. Everything's welded except I have a little gap back here that I couldn't reach with our bigger torch at the shop, which is why I'm back at my shop so I can use my little bitty torch head. And I'll just show you. Hopefully I can get it to go in there, which that's a lot closer than the other one, but I should be able to angle this tip some more and squeeze it in there. But that's it's the end of the manifold. We're done. Everything's drilled out, cut, even cleaned up. Went in with the Dremel, and we welded some of the inside, and we also Dremeled it to get a nice flow going. You can see even over here I we welded and then Dremeled just to have a good seal. And same here, I didn't even Dremel, just fused it right there. So actually this will, yeah, you can see it better now. So that's fused, that side's fused, and we actually filled this side and just chamfered the edge there just a little bit, and then we cleaned that up pretty good. Same with that on both sides. So that's the turbo manifold, the equal length high rise turbo manifold done. And as I pan out, you can see we can move on to the next part of the build, guys. Today, hopefully I'll post this video today or tomorrow, but we have the 2.2 liter sleeved custom 10-to-1 compression pistons MazWorks block. So there's the block. It's technically a stage 2 or 3. I don't know. And then we have a 0.5 staged head. So it's pretty generic, just all the freeze plugs put in. We have SuperTech valves, standard size. I didn't even go one over because these VE heads flow so well. They're not even flat top. So compression should be the same on the head, but then we have 10-to-1. But then we have all the supporting. We have a fucking $500 ATI pulley. We have, instead of ARP head stud kit, we actually have a MazWorks head stud kit. And because you do the 2.2, so I'm technically a 90 bore here, I had to then go and buy a custom Apexy / MazWorks head gasket. So these are the OEM cams that I'm still going to use. And there's the VE oil pump that was machined with the block. But man, I've been waiting long enough. I mean, I say that, but really they did a really good job. Dropped it off September 18th, and it's December 13th. So, not too long. But yeah, this is going to be the end of the video. Because FedEx messed up the first block, I couldn't do any of my fabrication that I needed to do. So, that's the old radiator and intercooler setup. This is the new intercooler core and the new radiator. It's the same exact radiator as that one, but you still have to modify it some. I also started making the new oil pan. I don't even see the oil pan over here. Must be over there. Yeah. So we have this one that we made, but after like I do a 3-4-5, or really it's a 4-5-6 pull on the highway. If I do that like 3 times, I start seeing a little drop in oil pressure. So I think the design internally, we fixed the starvation in a corner with this baffle, but you can see this thing's fucking filthy. It doesn't have much baffling after this. It's still just the 5-quart capacity, just like OEM. So I've already cut a spare pan, so I've got the flange ready. So I've just got this part. We milled it. I'll show it in another video, probably the next one. But we're going to make a new pan. Hopefully it will look better than that one and hold more and have a better baffling system. But we also have Lucas Oil break-in, high zinc. That's recommended by Mazworks. And yeah, now the hustle starts, guys. That manifold, that turbo, and that engine. Oh, get excited, guys, because I am.